Hello adventurers, my name is Diogo Guerra and this is OFFroad-OFFcourse. And the beautiful thing behind me is the brand new 2023 KTM 890 Adventure, straight out of the oven. And I can guarantee that this will be the first ever review uploaded on YouTube. I don't mean to brag. Honestly, I feel a bit ashamed of saying these things, but KTM invited me to be part of their team here in Portugal to prepare their official release with the journalists that will happen in just a few days. They wanted me to create a few tracks, off-road and on-road, for them to break in the new engines. This bike is brand new, and for the journalists to test the bikes and to make their own reviews. So I spent the last 3 days riding the bikes, breaking in the engines, about 150 kilometers on each of them. It has been a pleasure to be working with the KTM team. Some engineers are here, some mechanics, some people from the marketing department. I have been trying to pick their heads, trying to find some new information for you guys, but they are very secretive. They don't make my job easier. Anyway, now that I have bragged about my situation, let's talk about the bike. So KTM has two 890 bikes inside the adventure segment, the KTM 890 Adventure and the KTM 890 Adventure R. They said that this bike, it's the world's most off-road capable street bike, and the Adventure R would be the world's most street capable off-road bike. And I find that a very accurate description of both models. So, keeping true to their own legacy, KTM wanted to make this new 890 Adventure as competitive as possible within this adventure segment, and some decisions were made. The wheels are tubeless with a size of 21-inch on the front and 18-inch on the back, the most advantageous off-road setup. The suspensions are now adjustable, compression and rebound for the forks, and hydraulic preload and rebound for the shock. Still no compression adjustment though. Both the nav tower and the fuel tanks were considerably reinforced. This will allow the bike to carry heavier navigation instruments and, according to my conversations with the engineers, to crash without the need of external crash bars. The bike is also slimmer than the previous model, allowing better ergonomics but also an easier ground reach. There is a new, bigger and better designed windshield, which aims to solve the buffeting problems people have been experiencing. Unfortunately, when I rode the bikes, they did not have these shields installed, so I cannot really say if they make a difference. Besides the usual 12-volt socket, they have now a USB power plug. Thank God. The display was also updated. Now you have easier to understand menus with illustrative images similar to the ones on the Husqvarna Norden. The adjustable seat has now a different design, much more comfortable but a bit taller, putting the seat height at 140 to 160 millimeters. And of course, there's the beautiful elephant in the room, the new looks for this bike. So riders around the world, they were not too happy with the old KTM design, with the navigation tower completely isolated from the rest of the bike. Some said it looked like a praying mantis, and I totally get where they are coming from. Well, KTM heard the market and they created this visual, these plastics on the side. Honestly, I think it looks much better, so kudos to KTM for listening. Other than that, the display is also slightly different. There's a new function, some new functions on the display. Then you have the normal riding modes. You have street mode, rain mode and off-road mode. You can turn off the traction control, you can turn off the ABS. You have the heating system where you can turn on the heated grips or the heated seat in case you have opted for that upgrade. And then you have, of course, a lot of information about trip, fuel consumption, you know, time riding, trip meter, all those things that are usual and expected. There's also the very controversial demo mode. So like when you buy the bike, for the first 1,500 kilometers, you have access to the rally mode. And the rally mode is basically a mode that lets you choose exactly how much sleep you allow the bike to have when power sliding, how much responsiveness you want on a throttle. You can turn the ABS on or off. It's basically like an off-road mode, but it lets you set up a few things. And I found on this bike that to be very, very important, because when you turn the bike to off-road mode, it's for road people to feel safe off-road. And what I mean by that is that if you keep the traction control on, it will be too intrusive, preventing power slides a bit too much, which is a deal breaker for me because I need to look cool on all the pictures. So if you want this bike, but you are planning to ride off-road a lot, then get the rally mode. I think it's worth it. I look at this bike and I see a lot of simplicity on its design, and to me this is a good thing. I'm sure a lot of people, I mean, in their own right, they will feel that the bike is a bit too maybe simple, like it lacks some details, but on the other hand, this is exactly what I expect from KTM, a bike that is functional above all else, lightweight as much as possible, simple, easy to disassemble, easy to replace broken parts, and in my opinion, this is exactly what I enjoy on bikes. Yeah, but enough about talking about the details, technical details. Let's talk about the experience of riding this bike. I'm not a road rider. For me, going on the road, it's just means to an end. But I have to say I enjoy this bike quite a lot because the engine is very smooth but powerful. Kind of makes you want to go faster than you should most times. I love the ergonomics, like the bike just fits your body. You can ride very aggressively on the road, lean into the turns, feel very confident. It feels like this bike is kind of a mind reader, like he knows exactly what to do, when to do it. The quick shifter, it is addictive. Addictive. When you open up the throttle, it's so good, so good. I'm not saying you need it, but it definitely feels good to have it. What else? Not only this thing stops fast, but it stops in a very confidence-inspiring manner. Like it just sticks to the ground, goes down like it doesn't bottom down, like it doesn't dive. The front doesn't dive. It's really impressive. I'm clearly, as you can see, very happy with the bike. From my experience with this bike now, and also with the Northern 901, which shares the same chassis, the same engine, similar electronics, and also this lower fuel tank design, I have to say that these bikes feel on a whole new level. Like they are not like anything I've ridden before. There are many good bikes on the market, but these ones feel like they are a generation ahead of the others. And I say this with total honesty, that this is truly how I feel. These bikes are game changers. And I think the two things I most like about them, it's the low center of gravity. Like these bikes feel much lighter than they are. It's just predictable. Like this bike, like the weight does not increase as it leans down. Like it feels like it's always the same. Like it's not getting heavier as it goes down, and that makes it so much easier to ride it, especially off-road when things get weird. Like this bike inspires confidence. Like you always feel that you can lean it, maneuver it, work your way around stuff. And the other thing I love is the ergonomics, which is something KTM has been doing right for quite some time. The way I'm 1.80 m, and the way I fit on this bike, when I'm sitting or when I'm standing, it feels perfect all the time. Of course, you can adjust the handlebar up and down, but I'm not talking about those things that are easily changeable. I'm talking about the design and the points where your body touches the bike. It's just perfect. The way you can like move around this bike going off-road, and you turn and you keep your body on the outside of the turn, you can basically do that very comfortably. If you have a more like on-road aggressive stance, you can lean into the turn and your knees rest against the tank. It just works. Like this bike makes you a better rider than you are, because like it kind of forces you into the correct positions, and I find that amazing. This low center of gravity, and these ergonomics, this is just something else. It's an incredible bike. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I hope this review was interesting. It's certainly not the kind of reviews I usually do. This is basically just a first impressions video. I hope it was useful anyway. My next video will probably be about the event itself, so the experience I had with the KTM team. I want to show you the backstage of the event, so please stay tuned. And until then, please don't forget to like, to subscribe, to hit the thingy, and to share. And see you next week, and happy rides!